At inception, the sector faced severe structural challenges, including low generation output, weak transmission infrastructure, high distribution losses, significant metering gaps, and a liquidity crisis in excess of 1 trillion naira. Between 2023 and 2025, however, the Federal Ministry has implemented critical reforms and interventions resulting in measurable improvements in capacity, in infrastructure, policy framework, legislative framework, and sector. For generation, for the first time in the history of Nigeria's power sector, we achieved the highest available generation of 6,001 megawatts in April 2025. This is the highest ever. And in terms of transmission and distribution, we achieved the highest energy transmitted of 5,801 megawatts on the 2nd of March 2025. That is the highest ever achieved in the industry. This was made possible by the completion and integration of three hydro power plants for the baseline conditions as of 2023, like I mentioned. Generation installed capacity was 13,000 megawatts, while available capacity in terms of transmission and distribution was between 3,500 and 4,500 megawatts as at September 2023. The constraints then included gas shortages, plant outages, liquidity shortfalls, very huge metering gaps, vandalization, and so on and so forth. For transmission, the winning capacity was just about 5,000 megawatts, faced with aging infrastructure and frequent grid collapses. For the distribution segment, there was very high aggregate technical, commercial, and collection losses, ATC&C losses. There was weak capital investment by distribution companies, which were expected to invest a lot of funds in revamping the infrastructure they met on ground when taking over in 2013 during the power sector privatization. For metering, there was over 50% of electricity costs unmetered out of about 13 million customers estimated. Metered customers were just a little over 6 million, which means we have close to 7 million customers unmetered. And this led to widespread estimated billing practices, which we consider very unfair, fraudulent, and non-transparent. In terms of sector liquidity, there was a debt overhang estimated at over 4 trillion naira when we took up, which was the cumulative debt owed by the regional companies in terms of outstanding unpaid subsidies, which affected the sector and also negatively impacted the operations and activities of the power generation companies, the power transmission companies, and the gas supply companies.
I'm coming from here as Minister of Power, that for this temporary issue that is leading to hardship being experienced, especially during this dry season, where there's so much heat everywhere, where businesses are also being affected, where schools are being affected, where industries are being affected. It is not our wish to find ourselves in this situation. It's some factors that are actually beyond our control. And we're not relenting. We are working on it 24/7 to make sure that we go back to the trend, to the trajectory of 2025, whereby you praised us, whereby you commended us for a good job well done. And you can imagine, if we could provide, this is 2026, this is when we'll be willing to even do as we are close to the election year. So, except that we cannot help it, that's why we find ourselves here. But I can assure you that in the next few weeks, all this will be over. Power generation will improve, transmission will improve, distribution will improve, and that 6,000 megawatts will be achieved before the end of this year, and Nigerians will be better for it.
the Minister of speaking about some factors beyond their control being the reason why Nigerians are experiencing blackouts all over, and talked about the debts that they had of about 4 trillion. The generating companies are saying they're owed about 6.5 trillion naira, that the debts are mounting. So yeah, this administration says they inherited about 4 trillion naira debts, and now it's about 6.5 trillion naira debts. And they've talked about, federal government and states sharing the electricity subsidy costs just to, shed these debts that the government is owing to generation companies. But yeah, those are the things that the minister said, and the apology that he has given to Nigerians for blackouts all over. What are your thoughts? We'll be discussing this morning. Get to the Nigerians to tell us if you accept this and what your thoughts are about the electricity sector generally.
This morning we have been with us as analyst and veteran broadcaster, Sir Abuchi Amiriaka. Good morning, Sachi.
Good morning, Choma and Yagazi. Good morning, our dear listeners.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Electricity is a big issue for Nigeria. It's been there for many decades. This government promised to solve the problem in 4 years unless there are adequate reasons why they couldn't solve it, according to the president when he was just candidate of the All Progressives Congress. Now we've experienced 3 weeks thereabouts of really very poor electricity outputs. I think the report we read said about 1,300 megawatts is what is being pushed out to Nigerians at this point in time. The minister said at some point we had about 6,000 megawatts of electricity, and that's about in March of last year, 2025, says these problems they are in control. What are your thoughts about the apology coming from the minister? 3 weeks where businesses have been crying out saying we've suffered a lot of losses because of the poor power supply. What are your thoughts about what has happened in the past few weeks?
Well, thank you, Yagazi. The issue of poor electricity supply or electricity matter in Nigeria, that is public electricity supply in Nigeria, I think it has become a shame to Nigeria at this time of life, or if I may say, in these modern times. It's a serious shame because when other countries, even in Africa, have left this stage of having experiences of inadequate supply of electricity, fluctuation of electricity supply, instability in the electricity supply sector, and all that. Many countries in Africa, even countries that one could say that are not better than Nigeria, they have left this condition. They are no longer here. They are now talking about advancement in technology, advancement in industrialization, and improvement of their economy and the general well-being of their people, which is the essence of government. But now we are still shamelessly talking about, oh, we are sorry, we are this, we are... It shows lack of seriousness. It shows no respect to the citizens of Nigeria. I can tell you that. The man, Tinubu, he has no respect for Nigerians. He has no respect for Nigerians. He has no respect for Nigerians. How many times did I say it? And I have my reasons. I said it 3 times. Because if he has respect for Nigerians and then has that honor and character, what he should have done is to tell Nigerians, look, for so reasons, I want to keep my word. Because he said so in the audio clip that you played at the beginning of when you launched this program this morning. that there was no reason for him to seek second term or for anybody to give him second term if he failed to keep his words about giving Nigeria steady electricity supply. Is he doing that? And now, himself and his cronies and his gang, his cohorts, they are just busy. They are just busy pushing for 2027 general election, 2027 presidential elections, for him to retain that position as president of Nigeria. You have not served the one that you took, you have not served well, you have not done it well, and you are looking for another one. So how would I take you by your words? When you made a promise publicly, you said it openly, you said, and you have not retracted that word. And you have not said, no, this image wasn't my image. And you said that confidently, boldly. And now you have failed.
Or he imputed a caveat.
Forget about the caveat. And what is that caveat? So what is he going to tell Nigerians? That maybe that a large python entered the turbine and then destroyed everything. So it was natural. The only excuse they can give is if there had been any natural disaster, natural cause. Like you say earthquake, because the land is there was landslide somewhere and it affected the power line, and you've not been able to do that. So what the caveat he put there, he just deliberately put that caveat. It's just like the same a man who made a promise of water everywhere in 180, and in 180 days what happened? And we are going to the fourth year of administration. No water, no water, no water, no water. And when anybody talks, they will come after the person. The attack dogs will come and begin to attack you. When you are telling the truth, when you are speaking the truth, where is the water? The promise that was made. Okay, you failed to provide the water, and you came at the day of the 180th day. You said, and you have it. If you like, you can source it now and bring it before we end this program. You said, yes, we are said there is no reason why. I still remember it vividly. There is no reason why water should not be running in every home in Enugu. Is water running in every home in Enugu? And yet, somebody is saying on your mandate, and there is no vacancy in Lion Building and all that. But just a little promise that somebody made, he couldn't keep it. So, back to what you are saying, the same thing is applicable at the national level. At the national level, what are we talking about? It's just because Nigerians, we are so happy, like somebody said, one international observer said that he had never seen people like Nigerians before, that they are suffering and smiling, they are happy, dancing, when misery and suffering are all over them. So is it not a shame? So what excuses are they giving? And the minister, after people, because people have been crying and shouting, even on radio, the newspapers and things like that. Now after 3 weeks or about, he now found it. So which means he had not been living in Nigeria. For him to have stayed up to 3 weeks before coming to tender the so-called apology, which Nigerians begged for.
What the minister tried to say is that it's unlike them, because since they took over in 2023, that there has been improvements. He tried to wheel out those improvements in the electricity sector in terms of what the power generation was like at the time that they took over, how they improved it to up to 6,000, the highest ever that we've ever seen, put out in Nigeria since forever. He tried to say it's the best that has ever been put out. In March of 2025, that it hit about 6,000 megawatts, and the electricity supply was robust at that time. I talked about the inherited, liquidity crisis in terms of debts that they
Debt.
inherited, about 4 trillion naira, said that it's also posed a big problem. And then also the metering problem, the metering gaps that we have, said about 7 million of the 13 million electricity consumers are unmetered, and it's a big gap that they inherited, and they're trying to close that gap. All of that's adding to why we don't have money flowing the way it should flow to the generation companies and through all of the value chain of the electricity sector. So saying that Nigerians should that they apologize for what has happened, but Nigerians should excuse them for this because it's unlike this particular administration to have this difficult times in their lives.
Okay, Yagazie, before you decide to take over from somebody, you voluntarily, you willingly aspired. It is assumed, or rather presumed, that you have done your homework, what they call homework. You have carried out feasibility studies. You have decided to know what is the problem with this particular sector. And you make your research, you make your inquiries, and then you obtained your findings, and you have them. You go to another sector, you do a similar thing. Before you now come before Nigeria. So it was assumed that President Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu had already carried out feasibility studies about what was the problem in the power sector before he now decided to address Nigerians. Nigerians didn't ask him to talk to them about power supply. He voluntarily told them in his bid to sell himself to Nigerians. So Nigerians felt that, oh, this man must have carried out feasibility study and discovered where the problem was and decided to tell them boldly that if you are talking about the other caveat of what about if the other if that he said before that the second one. So he said he was going to address this issue. He was going to stop this shameful matter, this disgusting matter, and that if he failed, that look at what would happen. So, are you expecting them, Yagazie, to have come out now to say, oh, we have failed, without advancing any reason, without trying to exonerate themselves from blame? No, you don't expect that. It's like somebody, a child deliberately, or a child just who broke a ceramic plate, and you're asking him, he said it's because his brother was looking at him and things like because he didn't know what to say, but he must find something to say. So that's what they are doing. So who would you now ask? Are you going now to bring back those who served with Buhari, or even bring back Buhari to tell Nigerians, oh look, oh, they are telling you lies. Look at the volume or the quantity of power that we are generated during our tenure. That what they are telling you now is a lie. Have you ever seen that thing happen in Nigeria? At least in recent times, where somebody will boldly come out and say no, what this man is saying is a lie. Because of pecuniary interest, pecuniary reasons, he wouldn't do that. And because of witch hunting, who will do that? The only person I can say today that can boldly say that maybe is somebody like Rufai or perhaps Rotimi Amechi. So because it wasn't his portfolio, he may not be in a position to say, no, what these people are saying is not correct. So, but be that as it may, are you saying that this thing is overwhelming, that you cannot do it? Are you telling us that you didn't carry out feasibility study about the power sector? before you decided to embark on the mission of asking Nigerians to give you their mandate to be their president? No. You must have done a thorough investigation of what was the problem then with the power sector before you decided to plunge into the system to demand to be the president of Nigeria. Because you don't just do that because it is not posting. It is not like a civil service posting where you are serving somewhere, all of a sudden a letter comes that you are now redeployed to another place where you didn't know. You don't know what is happening or how that system is operating. No, but this one voluntarily you decided to say, I want to go there. I know the problem. You told the people that you know the problem. You know the problem and that you are going to solve it. So what excuses are you giving if not failure? It's a total failure.
But doesn't it seem like it has become an insurmountable issue for the government to solve the problem in the power sector? And even with the minister, now you said that his apology is not acceptable.
Of course.
And there's this argument that he is about to apply for a governorship position in your state. And some persons are feeling that his focus is now on politics instead of what he should do to help the power sector.
Yeah, I think one of those ministers from the West, I don't know which of either Oshu or this or which one that built a new house and was celebrating the house, I think last year or last 2 years. You should remember, Yagazie, it was widely publicized where he was dancing, being a minister, he was able, under 2 years or thereabout, he was able to build a new house, very magnificent house. And with impudence, he was celebrating, showcasing the whole thing to the house to the whole world. So I wouldn't know whether it's the one that is we are talking about that wants to, or
this particular minister, or the minister of Interior.
I think it should be Minister of Interior. Is it which one is from Oshun?
Adelabu, the power minister, is from Oyo State. And,
okay.
There's been a lot of rumors that he's eyeing the.
There is one from, I think, the one from Oshun also. So it's a big disappointment. What they are saying is that this thing is overwhelming to them. But I don't believe that it is something that they cannot solve if they are prudent, if they are sincere, if there is no corruption tendencies, hampering these aspect of the public sector. If things are done well, they know what to do. If things are done well, they know what to do. They know what to do. I keep saying it. Their boss must have done his homework in the power sector before he decided to make that bold statement. So all these excuses he's giving, what do you expect him to say? Would you expect him to say, oh, look, Mr. President has failed, or that we have failed, our government has failed? No, he cannot do that. If he does that, then it means he's undermining the government and himself. So he cannot. He will keep on doing, bringing soap and pomade and all that, and water to keep washing, so that it will look as if it is clear.
But do you agree with Chama that, and not Chama, there's school of thought of those who believe that the minister is currently distracted by that Oyo gubernatorial bid, although he said during this particular press briefing that happened yesterday that he's focused now on solving the power problems. He tried to deflect the question when he was asked about his intentions around Russian gubernatorial. Do you think that he might be distracted? Because relatively, he's performed well. Like the reports that he gave himself, he gave by himself of what played out in 2025 and how power was, quite improved in 2025. And now, in the year that the election is happening, we are beginning to see this happen. Do you think that it's distraction on the minister's part that is giving us this outcome at this point, and maybe the president should do something in terms of maybe changing the cabinet around? that power sector.
Okay, he made a self-claim, self-glory, self-glorification of improvement of power sector in 2025. How many times, Yagazie, how many times did Nigerians witness or have a national grid failure? How many times he's saying he did this, he performed well. But how many times did Nigerians experience national grid failure in the last administration in a year? In the Buhari administration in a year, yes, Buhari administration failed, but in comparative terms, how many times just in a year did the country witness or experience national grid failure? How many times? And yet somebody is just being impeded. It's just because he has looked at Nigerians. If he's aware that, having said that, that thing would have cost him so much, he wouldn't have been bold enough to say that thing that he did well in 2025. What are the measures? What are the indices of assessment, of evaluation that he did well? He just came out to eulogize himself, praise himself that he did well. How? How did he do well? They did well. Was it not last year or 2024 that they categorized the electricity distribution in Nigeria according to bands? Band A, band B, band Z, band. And in the end, did they keep to that banding structure? Did they keep to it? You see, before you do that, you must have been aware. It is like a plane. You get to a point, you begin to cruise, then you can do anything. This banding thing ought to have been the last thing they should have done, when they must have been sure that there is steady supply of electricity, that come rain, come shine, thick or thin, that nothing will make power distribution, power supply to drop. Then you begin to talk about categorization of band A, band B, band C. But they didn't do that. They were interested in getting more money from the people. Tinubu is just interested in stifling the people. He looked at oil and then decided to jack up the pump price of petrol under the guise of removal of subsidy. How would you measure that? Removal of subsidy. He made that claim so that it will be believed. Somebody that was against it during the time of Jonathan. So what changed that made Tinubu to now remove subsidy without apologies to Jonathan? He should have apologized to Jonathan, and he hasn't done that. He should have tendered apologies to Jonathan, because he mobilized Nigerians against the man. And then the man, in deference to Nigerians, he dropped the idea of the so-called removal of subsidy. But this man has no respect for Nigerians, and he impudently and whimsically said he removed the subsidy. And all of a sudden, prices of commodities and services jumped. And as if that wasn't enough for him, he looked at the same power, the epileptic power sector. He went there, and which is a key, the soul of everything that people are doing in Nigeria, power generation, electricity. He went there and looked at it and said, no, it's like these people are smiling. These people are smiling. They were paying, 51 naira or 51 kobo per unit of electricity. Then he looked at them, he said, oh, no, these people, let me now put this banding system into them. And he jacked it up to, was it 200 and
209.
It was about 220 something naira for band A, for band A. The one you are talking about was when they decided to reduce to 209. But initially, the first one was about, it was written 221 naira or so. And they felt that, yes, we stifle Nigerians more. We stifle them more. We hit them more. So, and now without telling Nigerians how much they were owing gas
Generation
suppliers,
companies.
suppliers of gas, to the thing that you are now categorizing in banding, to the same electricity issue that you have decided to jack up the tariff. So who is fooling who? Who is deceiving who? Look at that one, because he did that of petrol, and they felt that, oh, Nigerians, they are not suffering enough. Now he decided to look towards electricity, and he did that to on electricity matter. And then we started experiencing power grid failure, national grid failure every day, almost every day. And yet somebody is bold now to say that he did well, he performed well in 2025. Who is he telling that?
All right, yes,
And you talked about distraction. How is his governorship intention for your state? How is it going to, or how has it been a distraction to him? If it's a distraction to him, he knows what he should have done.
Yeah, the president has asked them to resign.
He should have, but he should have resigned before now. He should have resigned before the instruction to resign. So, and if it is overwhelming to him, he knows he should have done the needful. So, but since he still remains that in that position, it means that what Nigerians, once you are holding a position, you are holding the position. It is either you are there or you are not there. So if you are not there, you get away. Officially, that's the way to do it. So there is no point, trying to beat about the bush, trying to paint the whole thing, rub it with cream, pomade, and nice perfume that will make it look very, very nice, very sweet. No.
So it's all rhetoric. That's what
No,
you're saying, what
of
we are hearing
course,
from
of
them.
course. It's just, if you want to use, in public service, in government administration, if you want to deceive the people, use sophistry. And sophistry had always been the tool of ruling the people, telling them what they would like to hear,
Do you think they will-
diffusing
do you think
diffusing
that
tension.
Nigerians will be moved by what the minister had said?
How can Nigerians, are Nigerians not discerning? He's just talking to himself. When he said that, since how many people have commended him or have said, oh yes, so what you said is okay, we are now happy with what you have said.
So what should Nigerians do at this point?
Nigerians know what they do. They know what to do. Are they not discerning? They are very, 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 very well discerning, and they are very quite knowledgeable. So what is still lacking is the will. What is still lacking is the will,
The will to do
the
it.
liturgy. To take the action now, to take their faith by themselves or by their hands. They know what to do.
All right, we'll go for
They
a
know
news
what to
break,
do.
sir.
Is it not election that is coming?
It is.
Is it not election that is coming? They have their strength in their votes now. They know what to do, and they do it, and do it very well.
Nigerians, what are your thoughts? You'll tell us after the news break what you think about the apology coming from the Minister of Power and your experience so far on the recent ethnic cloud that we've witnessed in the past few weeks. We'll be right back.
Good morning and welcome to Urban Radio News Update in 94.5 seconds. I'm Chama Onaso. The people of Uguaku village in Nsube town of the local government area of Enugu state have appealed to Governor Peter Mba to intervene for them to be given justice, fair hearing and adequate compensation over deliberate efforts by government officials and estate developers to take over their land without due process at Obuto Uguaku. The Main Power Electricity Distribution Limited (MEBL) has reaffirmed its resolve to transform power supply in Enugu state with more dependable, efficient, and customer-driven services. The Labour Party has said it will reject any presidential aspirant from northern Nigeria, maintaining that the ticket has been zoned to the south. The federal government has reiterated its commitment to addressing the security challenges in Zamfara State as Governor Daud Lawal officially defects to the All Progressives Congress APC. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, has apologized to Nigeria for power outages but promised improvements across the country in the coming days. In sports, about 13 players have arrived the Super Eagles camp in Turkey for the international friendlies against Iran and Jordan. On entertainment, Nollywood actress Uche Montana has spoken candidly about the impact of fame on her romantic life, noting that fame might scare some potential suitors away. You're up to the minute in 94.5 seconds. I am Choma Omosondo.
The poor power supply in the past few weeks, and then you know the reports, the first quarter report for the year 2025, 2026. Beg your pardon. All right, you can call in and send in messages on the program this morning to join us in this conversation. 0916 0005945.
Or 0916 0004945. Send in messages to our WhatsApp line 09128 Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Good
We
morning,
can hear
sir.
you.
We
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, we can hear you.
Very
Go ahead.
clearly.
All right, do what we want and call back.
Hello. Hello, are you there? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chukwuemeka.
Good morning.
But Mr. President is is trying. That is just the if you can face reality. Me personally, I don't believe I'm in the future. Or if I tell you that I'm the Christ man, not be assured I'm lying. Because no one can be Christ. You can only be servant, and messengers. So Mr. President is trying to fix Nigeria. No one alone can fix Nigeria. So that is it. The apology for me is acceptable. We don't in Enugu state, nobody should learn Tinubu. I'm not in the right position to discuss, Tinubu. Because the guys in the way and accept our brothers. If we take now there, we don't decide.
Hello, good morning. Hello. Good morning, Weke.
It's not easy. Ruling this country is not easy. Somebody came and they said he will fix water within 180 days. Yes, all of us anticipated that it must be so. For me, there is no how it will be so. All these things got deployed for decades. How do you expect this?
Hello, Mike, are you there? Okay, go ahead.
Hello?
Hello? Hello, Mike, can
Go ahead then. Okay.
All right, thank you, Mike, for calling in. Hello, good morning. Hello?
Hello? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Paya.
Good morning, Chief
Good
Emeka.
morning, Chief Emeka. Hello? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tinubu. Failure of voice. Because how can you tell us that you should wait and then hear that you are on me? The first the first election of greed, 1, 2, 3, since 2000 and what till now. And we are telling us to endure. We are not a woman that someone will come and promise on a bed. Just like what your guest say. Forget about all the things they are saying. We the citizens, if they like, let the whole governors in the whole country defend to APC. 2027 will tell. If they are 30 in number or 300 in number, we the citizens who are millions in number, we will tell them our fate will come 2027. Let them continue what they are doing. 2027 shall tell. And they should be ready. Maybe by then, all these death fighters that they brought from America or whatever to fight insurgency, maybe they want to use it or not. They will be preparing. We too are preparing whichever. Right. 2027 should tell. Good morning.
All right, good morning to you. The call's coming 0916 0005945.
Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
There's a welcome. Joining us. You keep the calls and messages coming 0916 3205945 or 0916 3204945. Messages 09128945945. Hello. Good morning. Hello.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, sir. Bishop, please turn down the volume on your radio set, okay? All right. Hello? All right. A lot of disturbances on that line. Go for a break. We'll be right back to take my calls.
You're listening to
supply and what is going on in the power sector, especially with the Minister of Power coming out to apologize to Nigeria over the critical reduction in power supply in the country and promising that it will be fixed in the shortest possible time. What are your views? Do you think that apology is acceptable? And how do you feel with the recent reduction in supply in your area? We're still taking calls 0916 0005945 or 0916 0004945. Sending messages to our WhatsApp line 09128 945 945. We still have Sir Abichi on the other person of the story. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Well, good morning. Yes, I'm Shoma and the little Sado here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I greet all of you. Yeah.
Good morning.
It's very exciting issue this morning.
Your name and
I mean,
location.
Nigerians are growing. My name is
Okay.
and people who lead us are not ashamed to tell us stories. Yes, and the people in the studio. You know my problem? My problem is that our staff know us. And they all use the same thing against us. The president told us that he's still going to the meeting. And if the president is not going, he's in the same boat. But the governor has told us that he give up water for every home, even after the election has held. And they know we are no fans. We are not doing it. In fact, we will start investing with them. There's nothing that at the end of the day, they buy up and want to control it. And that is why you are not ashamed to begin to tell us that the time those are like Italian sabotaging the drug which is much smaller. My own mission, can you prove it? Why are we trying to defend the fact that you care about the message that gave you the first government governor of the South? Are you ashamed? Let us stop encouraging our leader. The political ethics are using us. They make promises to us. They cannot repeat the political promises. In fact, I don't accept the apology of the minister of power. But it is even better to have apologized. He has understood that he has not delivered. That the people in Enugu are people that just 1 million cubic meters of water and they are giving it to the gods of water. They give it the 1 million liters and they give it to the gods of water. And yet we are using substandard water. All of us, we are using water, the shallow water, the conversion water for wells. No, see wells. Sometimes you don't even see the bad water to use. And we are talking. And incidentally, somebody will jump up and say, because we end up on the people have forgotten it. If they get that respect, what the fuck can you prove it? And we are not becoming from the people. Our leaders are teaching us. They are not teaching us. They should come down. People have failed. The same way with anybody who has made it through this, they couldn't fail in water. Our leaders know we cannot stay against so that's why they say it. As the election goes out, they will make it even more promises. Because they know that the end of the day, there's no good feeling and God feeling. Because of our nature, they have traumatized us.
All right, good
We
morning.
live in the trauma. And even the religious leaders are supposed to be our voice. They are being controlled. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for calling us. Hello, good morning. 0916 005 Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Savannah. Please, your radio set.
Yes. Is it okay now?
Yes, it is. Go ahead.
Yes, I greet my friend. I got
Good morning. Good morning.
I
Good
am
morning.
very, very happy with the submission of Mr. Paulado. They know we cannot do anything. Look at Minister of Power. He's busy campaigning. He's warming up for election on your state. When will he have time to address the power issue? When will he have time? When already they told him, they have already told him, they have announced to them that once you are coming out with
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning to
Good morning.
Coming from Enugu. Yes, it's very quite interesting. I don't blame anybody who is attacking Mr. President or anybody who is saying that will remind him of his promise come 2027. That is a valid point, okay? That is why I always condemn politicians who come out to make promise that they even beyond them to solve rather than letting the people to give them their own priority. You understand? This is what we want. This is what should be our own priority, not what you can be able to do for us because they end up maybe they may have the good intention to do that, but forces and so many other things may make them not to achieve that. So that is on another side. For the apology, I accepted his apology. One, okay. So, but it's always good for us to point out as thinkers. You understand? The issue of the electricity power sector has been indicated something. You understand? So I think that you need a political will. Well, first of all, what I think is that some of these people and the electrical sector and the energy sector, all of them may also have creation way. And some of these people who are also in the business of importing from the state, they also in the business of oil market. So supply, how they
All right, thank you. Let's take a look at the WhatsApp messages.
Good morning, Yagaze. What sort of factor could be beyond the control of the government unless it is visibly natural? I don't accept the apology. Mr. Tinubu should resign. He's incapable of governing the country. He is only good at grabbing power and clamping down on opposition. Peter from Enugu. Good morning, Northern Radio. Yes, don't vote for me for getting the liver by the president. That's the language of Nigerian politicians on federal level. I will give voters every home in Enugu State the language of Nigerian politicians on state level. We know them by zero integrity. Their political promises don't make meaning to us any longer. We will continue to watch them and their empty promises until they are tired. Let them know that the more they deal with us, the more we succeed. How many times have they increased the electricity tariff with the hope of supplying constant light? They know what they are doing. Don't accept the